Hi, welcome to my channel. We are now talking about Denon Turntable DP59L. So I have changed the cartridge from to MC, and I find there's a problem in adjusting the counterweight. In general, you have single counterweight on the tone arm, but in this case, I found that there are two weights on the tone arm and they have to be individually adjusted. So in my case, I have a problem where the fine tuning of the counterweight is stuck inside, and there should be a way to set it right permanently. So I'm going to explain to you what exactly is this two weight mechanism that has been done in this Denon DP59L. So let us go to the drawing. I'll show you in simple sketch what it can do. So let me draw a simple sketch. This is the tone arm, and this is the uh, stylus holding shell. Okay. So here what happens is you have basically a kind of pivot mechanism, and you need a counterweight like this. When you move this towards this will lift upwards, and when you move it towards this left side, it comes down. What do you call it? Seesaw. So now in this case what happens is this is the main weight that is there. I'll explain to you. I call this as a main weight, and then you have another weight inside this tube, and this tube has a worm gear, and this worm gear on the outside you have a knob to make this move inside and outside. But since it's a smaller weight and also the movement is restricted to few uh, this will become a fine tuning weight. Okay, so I'll show you physically how this is the machine. Before that, I would like to explain that this particular thing is stuck inside and it is not moving properly. So my fine tuning of the weight becomes difficult. Okay, so how do you set this first? First, what you do is once your cartridge is in place, cover removed, and you have to make it float. So before floating, you have two things to do. One is keep the anti-skating to 0. Then set this weight uh, to outside. That is the maximum. The weight should be maximum on the outside. And then set this to 0. Once this is set to 0, move this weight slowly, the main weight, and make this arm float. Once this float is in parallel to the record, lock the nut with this curved screw and tighten it in place. So when you take off your hand, this should be floating without any difficulty. Now once this the float mode is set, that will be your zero reference. So you set this will be in zero position. Now what you need to do is you have to turn this clockwise so that the inner weight is moved outwards, that is inwards. So the setting, you need to adjust the setting according to the weight required. So when it moves towards this side, there will be a force. Because of this misbalance, the cartridge will come down, the tone arm will start coming down. So how much it comes down? As per the manual, one full turn is equal to 1 gram. So we would like to set it to probably 2 grams. So probably 2 full turns is required. So let us practically see how this is happening and how this stuck thing can be cleared and how this whole adjustment can be made. This is specific to Denon DP series, which I think most of them have this kind of adjustment. So I'll explain to you what makes this good, and also there are some drawbacks that you need to take care when you're rechanging this cartridge. You need to bring this again back to the zero position, that is set it to, I mean, this has to come out. Now if you overturn this in either side, the knob will not hold to the worm gear shaft, and it will give away, and this will be stuck somewhere in between. So you need to be very careful of how much turns you do, and when you do the next adjustment next time, you have to bring it back to this position. If you keep turning on the wrong side, then this will get stuck somewhere in between, and also your shaft will start slipping on the knob. So this is the very important thing that you need to take care in this machine. The cartridge is mounted, as you can see. The cartridge is mounted. I need to first we'll set right this and then come to the final adjustment. Now I am trying to show you this shaft which I spoke to you about. Show here. See this shaft, it has a worm gear. Now if you see, it is, see the weight inside. The weight inside is gone inside. So let me try to this is heavy, very tight, so I am using a plier. See, now the weight is coming out. So this is how it should be. So first let me clean this mechanism so that this becomes easy for the movement. Okay. So this is an air duster, which is basically a pressurized air for cleaning the dust. So let me move this and We'll clean the inside part. Now I'm going to put a little bit of oil. So generally I use a non-sticky oil, and this is from a swing machine oil, which is good enough for this work. So I put it on the worm gear as well as on the tube's inner circle, so that there is no friction while it moves. Now you see I can move it with my fingers. It's much better than what it was. So you need to give a little bit of gap here. There's a step on this knob, so that need to go and sit inside. So this is the maximum you can bring it out. Now set this to 0 like this. So you have an Allen curb screw here. So I need to find an Allen which can turn the thing. It's too small. I don't know whether I have that size. Smaller than this. It's even smaller than this. Let me use some small screwdriver for the time being. Yes, this is working. Okay, now let me keep it to 0. I'm just tightening this. Yeah, now we can move this. Now when you move it towards your right, as you see, these are 0.5, 0.6 grams. Becomes higher on the stylus. Okay, now this is set. Now we have to do the actual zero setting with this main weight. And once this is set to the 0 weight, that is the float mode, then we'll come back and do this final setting. So you need to remove the dust cover. Okay, now you try to float this. It is not, it is floating, but it is too much on the higher side. So let me bring it to flat position. Let me put a on the record. So as you can see, now it is in a floating position. Okay, now bring it back to its locked position. Now we have to tighten it without moving the main magnet. Yeah. Now let me recheck whether it is floating. Yes. Now it's floating. Yeah. Okay. So we have put a gold note Dontilo stereo cartridge, and the recommended the total weight is about 7 grams, and so the recommended weight is about 1.8 to 2.1 grams. So I thought I will set it to about 2 grams. So this is the suggested tracking for the red. This is for the gold. So Dontilo red. So the suggested is 1.8 to 2.1. So we'll set it to about 2 and recheck with a digital gauge to make sure that the settings are accurate. So let us now, for 2 grams you need to turn 2 times back to 0. So this is like 0.1, 0.2, 0.5. So this is supposed to be 1 gram. This is about 2 grams. Okay, so let me get my gauge. I'm removing this record because the level here will be too high if I place it on the thick rubber mat and the record. So I'm removing all those things and we'll set this to 0. Okay, now you see 0 grams. So I'm placing this on top of this. So it shows 1.95. Slightly increase this. 1.8. 0.84. Too much. Yeah, 2 grams. Okay, so I remove this. I change my anti-skating to about, as per the manual, set it to 2. So Q damping is also set to 2. So far so good. So let me put back the mat, the record. So this is just a rough record, just for testing purpose. This is a 100 volts turntable, come from Japan. So I need to step it down because my supply line is about 230 volts. So let me get the step down transformer. I think I forgot to tell one particular step before you do fixing the cartridge. What you need to do is you need to power it on first, and you can see here, show here. So when I press down, this hydraulic will move down. So then this becomes, you can set it to float mode. When it is not in down mode, then this will be lifted up all the time and you cannot adjust it. And in this turntable, there are coils and magnets to control the tone arm from certain, it's called a dynamic servo tracer. So what it does is it tries to counteract the warpage and certain defects in the record. So what happens is, as soon as you power, this becomes active. So you can't do the settings of the VTF without discontinuing that. So you need to switch it off. So before switching it off, make sure that this what do you call, lifter, what is that, is down. So what you need to first do is power it up, then put that lifter in down position, press it lightly, it will go down, switch it off and do all the settings which I told you earlier. Okay, now that everything is done, let us get back to what we wanted to do. We'll do the testing. So now it is in up position and it is at 233.33 rpm. Now if you see, it is in a lifted position. Now let us start the process. Okay, it is lifting and settings are correct. Now it's in off position. So I did this alignment protector from alignmentprotector.com. Give all these inputs and you will get the drawing done. Now I had calibrated this setting. Yeah, now it is coming down. Now I'm just seeing whether any of the settings have moved away. Package. Okay. I'm moving this to this point. And rechecking. This is the first grid. Looks like the alignment is still holding on. Now we'll move on to the next grid. Looks like it is okay. So let us put it back. So let me move this to my audio room and we'll see how it sounds. Now that we have set the tone arm, the balance, the VTA, the anti-skating, and the damping, let us go ahead and see how it sounds.
arbitrar. Hija de Lita, quisiera ser tu esposa. Hija de Lita, fuera tu.
Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.